Let go means, well, there's many different levels of letting go. I think on a day-to-day, sometimes I am confronted with the fact that I have to let go of smaller struggles. Like, for example, recently I'm writing my thesis, and there are two main ideas that I had to let go of, which is what came to mind right away when you asked me. And it was hard because I had really thought about them. I had, studied and gathered a lot of information and developed a relationship with these two concepts I felt was really important to a big piece of work that I'm working on. And it was just circumstances said, like you can only focus on one rather than on three. So that would be my recent big work of letting go, and it was just saying it's okay to let that go, narrow down my life a little bit, simplify, and just focus on doing one thing really well. And I think this plays out in big and small ways in life. Like sometimes it's about, I had a bunch of clothes that were very nice. I used to work in business, and now I spend most of my time being a student. So it's even letting go of the clothes, but then really you're letting go of the life that you would have to wear those clothes to, So that's the work of letting go for me. And then I think in even like a bigger scale, letting go is really letting go of expectations of a different reality. And I find that as a mom, this plays out a lot. I think sometimes I have expectations of my kids and they don't do it, and I get really frustrated and really mad, and then I stop and I think what I'm coming up against is that I need to let go of certain expectations that I have on them that may or may not be realistic, may or may not really be to their benefit, and just letting go of that and saying it's okay the way things are right now. It's okay that I just focus on this. It's okay that my life just looks like this right now. It's okay that that's where they're at right now. I think for me, that's how letting go plays on many different levels of my day-to-day life.
Letting go, for me, it's a deep word. Letting go for me is trusting God. So in my faith, which is just from my personal experience and from the sharing of my church pastor, it is trusting God and knowing that everything that I choose, if I let go, He has my best intentions, and as long as everything that I do, I know the purpose is to give glory to God. So that's for me, letting go. Now I can have like prayer requests and things like that, but the result of it is I let go and I let God decide.
So letting go means to me, I guess, not forgetting what has happened to you, but be able to deal with it in a sense that it no longer bothers you or aggravates you to an extent that you're losing sleep over it, or that it's causing you any more stress in your life. So letting go to me, I guess would be, just releasing all that negativity and allowing it to be what it is without letting it kind of bring you down. So just, even though it might not be resolved, that's not really the point of letting it go. Letting it go might just be that you've accepted what has happened and there's nothing you can do to change it at this point, maybe never. So you just let it go and move on past that. Hopefully learn from what you've gone through, but yeah, being able to let go.
As a salesperson, let go is a very big word, because we go to interviews, we try to get a listing, we try to sell something, and everything happens, and it's really hard. I think letting go is not taking it personally, and letting go is also trying to figure out why that person is bothering you. Go talk to them or try to see what the reason that you cannot let go. So letting go is something that we have to do on a daily basis, and mastering it, I think, is understanding it.
Letting go is a hard thing to do. A lot of us hold on to things consciously, sometimes unconsciously, things like pain and grief. And this comes with all this anger and disappointment and rumination. And the thing is, when we stay holding on to these things, it's like pouring a shot of poison for the person or the thing that we're angry with, and then drinking it ourselves. And it just courses through our veins and our minds and prevents us from really finding peace. The most instrumental tool in my own quest for learning to let go of things is a technology called direct neurofeedback. It helps processing and clarity by basically activating the prefrontal cortex, and that's the part of the brain that's good at making decisions, seeing things clearly, being in charge of your emotions. Other tools that are really helpful for me are long walks in nature, art therapy, and mindfulness exercises. And all of these things together basically allow me to process things with compassion, with logic, with rationale, rather than with fear, with the fight or flight response. And doing this allows me to have a different perspective. It allows me to see that not everything is meant to last forever. Not every person or situation is going to be around forever. And it can be really powerful to learn to let go when things are no longer serving you. And that's been really instrumental in my own personal development and kind of quest for inner peace.
It's a pretty broad concept. It's easier said than done once you just hear it. Letting go of the experiences, the memories, the traumas you've had throughout your life, throughout your experiences, they're all here in your memory. Letting go at first feels like you're supposed to just like have this idea on your head and then flush it down. But it's not that simple at first. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of contemplation. And after all, the things we usually want to let go are the things that do not serve us. The first step to becoming aware of what are the things that you have to let go is making a clear difference between what are the things that are working and serving towards your good and your growth, and what are the things that are weighing you down. Once you detect which are the things that are weighing you down, you have to become aware of the nature of the situation, these elements, these things that are like not doing good to you. It takes a lot of will and dropping of the ego to look at this in the eyes and contemplate them. It takes a lot of overcoming fears to look at this. And this is all at the conscious level. I want to make a clear difference between the conscious and the subconscious. So in order to let go consciously of these things, you have to look at them in the eyes and forgive what those things did to you, how they affected in the moment they occurred to you in your life, whichever way they happened. And forgiving those things and going to the next page. That's the conscious part, but it's way more than that, after all. In the long term, we need to work on those things in order to make our unconscious mind to also forget about these things. But after all, letting go is a deeply personal process that people have to go through in order to develop and overcome the things that have been weighing us down.
I think letting go to me is like releasing yourself and whatever it is, the emotion or the feeling that you are letting go of. So it's kind of breaking away from something, or ensuring even intentionally that you're not gonna be holding that on to you.
Being human, I think, is the big challenge in letting go, because because you have all these emotions that are tied to it. I mean, I think the reason why we know when something is important is because we feel strongly about it. If we lose it, we feel angry, we feel upset. When we have it, we feel excited and motivated. And oftentimes, when you realize that you're letting go of something, it's because that thing has been important and it's brought about all these feelings inside of you. So I think that's the big challenge. You know, we are hardwired to hold on to things. We are hardwired to not want change, to have reality be something that is stable, and to want this life to want control, I think is what it is. And so letting go is hard because it's psychological work. I think you have to really stop and feel all those big feelings that are there, and turn towards them instead of away from them, because then you're just not dealing with the problem. And then to just face it and really manage those feelings, I guess. I'm trying to think of an example. So when I was told that I had to let go of these two big pieces to my work that I had nurtured and I had found great meaning in, I think right away I was angry. I thought, you don't understand. I thought you don't see how much work I put into this. I thought you haven't seen what I've given up in order to work on this. And I think it's really hard to stop, pause, and go, it's okay to feel this way, and feel it, and then to step back and go, well, is there a different reality that I can accept? So I think this maybe leads to your next question, but it is to me an exercise in acceptance, and that is how you mitigate the challenges of letting go.
Being patient. Sometimes we have things where, like I said a while ago, when I kind of want to do it a certain way, and then I have to be patient to let God make it happen at the right time or not. Because like one thing I've learned from personal experience is the prayer can either be answered yes or no or not yet. So sometimes when I think that the prayer is not being answered, sometimes it's just not yet. It's like I just have to be patient. My wife and I, we remind each other, and when I come home from work, we'd kind of share to each other how our day went, and then we would encourage each other. Big things we would dedicate it to prayer, but then we'll keep our eyes open on how God opens up certain doors, makes us meet certain people and be like, oh, okay, like that's interesting. Or sometimes I'll have things where I want to do it my way, and then I kind of feel that it's going into a dead end, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let go, and then things turn out really well. And then because we share it with each other, it gives each other encouragement, and it's like a blessing. Yeah.
I guess getting out of your own way, in a sense of not letting something really eat you up inside, where it's running through your mind over and over and over again. Maybe allowing yourself to forgive maybe the person or the situation, even though I don't know, it might be, maybe sometimes they might not even ask for your forgiveness, right? Or think, that's tricky. Yeah, because even though like sometimes you might have done something or they might have done something, it's just no longer healthy to hold on to that grudge. So you have to just let it go so it doesn't just keep weighing you down, consuming your daily life and activities. I guess, I mean, it depends on what you're going through at the time. Hopefully in general you don't have to let go too much. But I think everybody has to a little bit throughout the day, like whether it's not somebody has cut you off in traffic or somebody has budged in front of you at line at Starbucks or something. So, I mean, you don't want to be pushed around. You want to let yourself be known or express yourself so that you're not being taken advantage of. But yeah, daily letting it go. I guess, yeah. Hopefully you've dealt with it enough that you're not having to just keep coming back to it every day. So you can do different things. I don't know, I always find like physical activity is a great way of letting go, trying to relieve that stress at least. Doing other activities like maybe other like music type things might be great for other people to let go, or journaling. Some people like to journal to let go. But I guess really letting go is just understanding the situation and how maybe you can't fix it. So letting go of the burden of trying to control every aspect.
One of the challenges is to understand the other side and why that person did that, or what's the reason and that moment, or that reason for making you upset to not let go. And I think communication is one of the best keys. I learned from my friend the other day. If you have a problem with somebody and you're holding back grudge, or you're holding back something that's bothering you, I think communication is the best thing towards that, to let go. I think when you let go, the feeling that happens inside you is an accomplishment, is an understanding, is also going forward. But when you don't let go, it's really hard to go forward because you blame everything, or you get upset about it. But once you resolve that let go, I think going forward is the key.
I think for me, the biggest challenge is the rumination part of it. It's hard not to replay events or wonder if you could have said something differently or done something differently, would you still be in this position of having to let go? So the rumination, I think, is the hardest part, but that's where the mindfulness exercises really are helpful. Mindfulness exercises, I think, are wonderful. There's also, a lot of, you could do stress and conflict kind of exercises, really break down step by step, what happened and where the stories might come in. Oftentimes we have stories of what we think the other person may have thought, and that really comes into play. It's hard for us to let go when we have this anger, but it's really a story that we're telling ourselves of what we think their perspective is. So the more that you can break down that kind of thought process, the easier it is to let it go.
Challenges of letting go. There's so many abstractly. When situations come up with similar circumstances, behavior repetition, like having these behavior patterns that we're used to reacting. So yeah, the biggest challenge is repeating the same behavior over and over again because you're used to it. And sometimes when we actually do want to overcome something, this habit of reacting in a specific way stops us from reaching our goals of growing, and that's probably the hardest part. I'm a lot into the conscious and the subconscious and behavior patterns, habits. Those are deeply related to the unconscious mind, and that's what I mean with challenges, because I meditate a lot, and I'm pretty self-aware of the things that happen to me on a daily basis, and I have a good support network that if I start to behave in a crazy way, they will let me know that something's off, in a loving way, which is something I highly suggest. Create a circle of people, give love, give advice to people so that they can also do that to you, and ask for it. We need that. We need counseling from our loved people and our friends, and those are the ones who are always going to be the most honest with you if you truly ask for it. And anyways, I kind of like deviated, detoured, but becoming aware of those things that come up without us even knowing it are the biggest challenges.
So I think very challenging circumstances are when people I really care about display values that are just so distant from my own, and that I feel very passionate about. And so that is something that really, it takes a while for me. And what I say to myself is I need to first digest it, digest what I'm seeing, so don't react right away, because it is something that I know is, am I hitting this? It's something that I know is gonna be difficult for me. So digest it first. Try to see if there is anything I can do about it, if there's anything that I could help or that I could say or that I could show the person that might, you know, maybe change their mind or help them think more about this, you know, help them on their path, on their journey, their learning journey. But if I think that there's nothing that I can do about it, then I might just let go, and that's just let go of that and let go of the subject. So that might be a subject that I will not talk about with this person anymore, because I care about that person. It's a person that's important to me. So I don't want to lose the person, but I also cannot. I have to let go of that subject and not go there anymore, because it's just very difficult. So I think I have developed a strategy, because ever since I was young, I've had some emotional situations and problems of trying to be very controlling, control the situation, control my emotions, control things. And it's very overwhelming and very tiring. And I think I came to a point where I was suffering a lot, and I rationally made the decision that I had to start letting go. I had to start. So what I did was I kind of selected what it is that I do have control over and that I can make an impact on, and I can maybe try to change or influence, and things that are just out of my control, things that maybe are other people's feelings or other people's decisions, and that I just can't, they might pertain to me, but I just have no control over. So I just have to make my decisions to protect myself and maybe distance and let go of that. So I think what I do, I go for walks, and when I walk I think a lot. I talk to myself a lot. I think that's a strategy. I always talk to myself. So it's kind of like I'm doing my therapy with myself. I'll be saying what I'm feeling and questioning my own feelings. It's almost like a dialogue with myself, so that I can really understand. Because sometimes I just wake up with a bad feeling, and I have to stop and say, why am I feeling this? What's been happening? What might be causing this? And then it's like, yeah, I think it's like having a conversation with myself.
Relief.
Faith.
Relief.
Freedom.
Release. Peace.
Freedom. Freedom.
Liberation.
How do you let go of those unnecessary baggages? As Bruce Lee said it well, keep your mind on the things you want and off the things you don't want. Would love to hear your stories. If you are interested to share it with me and the world, PM me for more details. Here.